And they'll say, all right, take those off, we have to give you a pair of black shoes. I say, well, what's wrong with the black shoes I'm wearing? You want to put us out of a job? They give me a pair of black shoes, just like the ones I was wearing. Except they don't fit as well, they hurt my feet. Anyway, so they get me all made up, and the wardrobe is all set. And I still don't know what I'm going to do. Then they lead me somewhere where the director is. Hi, Stan. All right, listen, here's what we do. You sit here, you say this, shoot it, go ahead. Thank you very much for coming. That's my big Hollywood career. But I'll tell you a funny thing. It's funny to me. If you don't laugh, I'll understand. I did the one for the Avengers. And what I was supposed to do, Captain America, Steve Rogers, he's not dressed as Captain America, you don't know, but as far as you're concerned, he's Steve Rogers. Don't go giving away his secret identity. He's in a restaurant and he's being served by a very pretty waitress. And he obviously would like to get friendly with this waitress, but he's not talking to her. She just takes his order and walks away. I'm sitting at the next table watching this. And the director said, I want you to lean over and go and talk to Steve and say, and I said it. What I said was, why don't you talk to her, you moron? That was my big line. But I did it magnificently. So I got home, everything was fine, and I get a call. You have to do the cameo over again. We're giving you a different cameo. I said, why? He had asked me to take my glasses off when I did it because he said there was a glare from the light and the camera. I don't know, so I taken the glasses off. He said, we looked at it and it didn't look like you without the glasses. So you got to do another one. Well, that scene in the restaurant was already finished, so they had to dream up something else for me to do. So I went back, what was it, a couple weeks ago, Max? And I went back and they gave me a whole different one. And it's a much... I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
It's a much funnier one. It's a chance for you to see me as the actor that I really am. Because it's an actual role in the movie. It takes almost 30 seconds. I may even be credited with casting characters. Now, that doesn't make them want to go to see the Avengers. I forgot what the question was, but I hope I've answered it. Yes.
How did you start any of this at all?
What's that?
How did you start any of it at all, thinking of these characters?
How did I start thinking of these
How
characters?
did you originally get into Hollywood? How did that happen?
Tell them about the Hulk.
In sheer desperation,
Really?
I needed a job. And I got this job working for this comic. I had a cousin who was married to a guy who published magazines. And I was about 17 years old and I was looking for a job. And somebody told me that at that company they were looking for an assistant. So I applied. And I didn't know these were comic books. He also published regular magazines, pulp magazines, picture books, and all kind of magazines. And he had a little line of comics. So I came up, 17-year-old kid. I said, I heard there's a job open. And they said, yeah, the comic book department. There were two guys named Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. They were working there. And my job was, in those days, people dipped a pen in ink. They didn't have ballpoint pens. My job was to keep the ink well spelled, to go downstairs and get them sandwich at lunchtime and run errands. So it was just a go-over. But after a while, they needed some people to write some copy in the stories. There was no one else around. Hey kid, can you write copy? Sure. What did I do? I was 17, I can do it. So I started writing the copy, and the next thing you knew, I was writing the scripts. And then they left, Joe and Jack left. And somebody had to be there to handle the editing and the writing, and I was the only guy there. So the publisher said to me, do you think you can hold up down the job until I find a real adult human being? If you get it, you're 17, what do you know? I said, sure, I can do it. And I never forgot about me. I've been there ever since. But my job was I had to dream up characters for us to write about. And I didn't think to myself, gee, that's tough to do. How do you do it? It was something I had to do, so I did it. I think the first one I came up with the name, The Destroyer. I thought that was a great name. I have absolutely no idea who the Destroyer was, what he did, what the story was. It was so long ago, but I remember the name, The Destroyer. And as far as how I do it, as I say, you do what you have to make a living. If I didn't do it, I would have been fired. So I had to come up with, for the first 20 years, the scripts that I did probably weren't that great because I was doing them the way my publisher wanted me to do them. And he had no respect for the audience at all, for the readers. He felt they were either very young kids or semi-literate adults. So he used to say to me, don't use too many big words. Don't worry about dialogue or characterization or anything like that. Give me a lot of action. I want scenes with people hitting each other and killing each other and a lot of sound effects, boom, bang, and that was it. So I kept doing that for years to make him happy and to make a living. And I think that's probably the longest answer any question. I have rambled on that way. Forgive me. Yes, ma'am.
How do you like dealing with the new generation, like Kevin Smith being in the Jay and Silent Bob movies, and do you think they're carrying the torch on well? Or
What about Kevin Smith?
did you enjoy working with
Oh,
Kevin
do I
Smith?
enjoy working?
Yeah.
Anybody would enjoy working with Kevin Smith. He's one of the greatest guys. In fact, most of the people I've met in Hollywood, you know, a lot of people say, they're all swell-headed, they're all cutthroats, and nobody's your friend in the movie business. I've met the nicest people in the world. Every one of them, they're interested in what they do, they'll help you if they can, they'll advise you. And maybe I've just been lucky, I met only the nice guys. I love the people in the movie business and the comic book business. I love anybody who entertains other people. Those guys are usually pretty nice guys. There's a question way over here. If I hadn't looked, I wouldn't have. If I were looking there, I'd never have seen you. Yes, ma'am.
What's your favorite character that you created and one that you haven't created?
What is my favorite character that I have created? And as if that isn't tough enough, she adds one that I haven't created. You mean who's my favorite character that I haven't created?
Yeah, like...
I don't have any favorites that I have. I don't even really have any favorites of mine because they're all like my children. I love them all, but I guess if I had to pick one, it would be Spider-Man because he's probably the most popular, the best known around the world. So I'll say Spider-Man. And as far as those I haven't created, I like Sherlock Holmes. You know, I love to read Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes. But you probably mean comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured you did. I don't know, I'll probably opt for Batman because Superman was always a little, I hate to say, a little bit dull. The minute you get a guy that can't be hurt, can't be shot, he's invincible, he's invulnerable.
Too much power.
They had to dream up, what is the stuff that'll hurt?
Kryptonite. 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 Kryptonite.
Kryptonite.
Kryptonite, of course. They had to dream it up because they realized that Superman is okay, but I hate things that are totally unrealistic. For example, you think you're talking to Stan Lee now, right? Who am I?